got my free Legends Assemble spin, and I'll be honest, I don't think I could have gotten a worse card. I packed David Seaman, and after looking at his stats and comparing him to the rest of the selection, I genuinely think he's the least valuable card in the entire event. Now, before anyone gets angry, this is just my opinion. If you enjoy using Seaman or he's been performing well for you, that's completely fine. But if you're asking me which card I'd least want to get from this campaign, it's easily him. The first reason has nothing to do with Seaman himself. It's because he's a goalkeeper. Anyone who's played eFootball for a long time knows exactly what I'm talking about. Goalkeepers are probably the most inconsistent players in the entire game. One match they'll save everything, and the next they'll concede the softest shot you've ever seen. We've all experienced it. That's why I've never been a huge fan of recommending goalkeepers over outfield players, especially when you only get one free selection contract. Now let's actually look at Seaman's stats. On paper, they're decent. 98 GK awareness, 96 catching, and 96 parrying are definitely respectable. Those numbers suggest he'll read the game well and deal with straightforward shots without too many rebounds. His 193 centimeters height is another positive, because taller goalkeepers naturally cover more of the goal. But once you look deeper, the card starts losing me. The biggest issue is his 79 jump. For a goalkeeper that's supposed to compete with some of the best cards in the game, that number is surprisingly low. Yes, his height helps compensate for it, but height doesn't completely replace jumping. Against looping headers or awkward aerial situations, I think this could become a noticeable weakness. Then there's 92 GK reflexes and 93 GK reach. Are they bad? No. But are they amazing? Also, no. We've seen plenty of free goalkeepers with similar or even better numbers. Nothing here really screams must-have. When I look at an epic goalkeeper, I want one area that truly stands out, and Seaman just doesn't have that. Honestly, this card reminds me a lot of Vitor Baia. Both have solid awareness, respectable reflexes, and decent reach, but neither one ever felt game-changing to me. They get the job done sometimes, then other times they'll concede goals that leave you wondering what just happened. That's exactly why I'm struggling to get excited about this Seaman card. The biggest problem, though, is the opportunity cost. This Legends Assemble campaign gives you only one selection contract. You're choosing between midfielders, defenders, attackers, and a goalkeeper. Players like Frank Rijkaard, Dennis Bergkamp, Paul Scholes, and Marco Reus can improve your team almost every single match because they're constantly involved in the game. A goalkeeper, you might not even notice him unless your opponent gets a shot on target. That's why I think Seaman ends up being the least valuable option. It's not because he's unusable, it's because the other choices simply offer so much more value. Even if Seaman had absolutely insane goalkeeping stats, I'd still struggle to recommend him because of how unpredictable goalkeepers are in eFootball. But this version doesn't even have ridiculous stats. They're good, not exceptional. Add the low jump into the equation, and I just don't think he's worth using your only selection contract on. Could he still make incredible saves? Absolutely. Every goalkeeper in eFootball can have amazing games. But he can also have terrible games, just like every other goalkeeper. That's why I don't think this card separates himself enough from the other free options we've already received. Again, this doesn't mean you're wrong if you like him. Some players genuinely prefer having a reliable goalkeeper, and maybe Seaman fits your playstyle perfectly. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you're asking me which card I'd recommend skipping from the entire Legends Assemble campaign, my answer is David Seaman. I packed him myself, and honestly, I would have preferred almost any other player in the selection. Between the inconsistency of goalkeepers, his relatively average epic level stats, and that disappointing 79 jump, I just don't see enough here to justify picking him over the elite outfield players available. For me, David Seaman isn't a terrible goalkeeper. He's just the least valuable card in a pack full of players that can make a much bigger impact on your team every single match. That's why, in my opinion, he's the worst Legends Assemble card.